but you're prompt. We'll go ahead and call to order right at 6 p.m. Thursday, January 25th, 2024, Fort Thomas Design Review Board meeting. Can we start with roll call, please?
Jeffrey Sackenheim.
Here.
Mark Thurnauer. Pat Haggerty.
Here.
Barry Petrarca.
Here.
Benjamin Novasa.
Here. Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the 16th and the 30th of November 2023. Motion to approve? Approve both as submitted? Yeah? Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so motion has been seconded. I will abstain because I missed both of those meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they're approved. Next item on the agenda is setting the calendar for 2024 meeting dates. You have a draft of in front of you here.
Your standard fourth Thursday of each month at the same time as usual. Is that still good?
Works for me. Yeah, that's fine. You want a formal approval of this? Yeah, okay. Can we get a motion to approve these as submitted on the piece of paper here?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And our favorite topic each year is the election of officers. I think since Mark's not here, I'd like to take over this.
He's our new guy.
I think that's how I ended up in this. So.
You'd like to pass it on the same way, right?
What do you guys think? What do you want to do here?
You don't want to do it.
Oh, I don't like doing it. It's fine.
So let's keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
Am I good with that?
You're doing a great job.
No, thank you. Somebody'd like to make a motion to keep the current slate the same?
Yeah, I'll move that we keep the current positions for the board members.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. I'll make the same joke everybody does. Our pay doubles, right? From 0 to double 0. Okay, the first item under new business will be for 1107 South Fort Thomas Avenue for signage for BF Realty. Yeah, you're welcome to come up. If you can give us your name, address, and then maybe just explain a little bit about what you'd like to accomplish here.
Hello. All right. So my name is Andrew Frietch, and my wife and I bought this building, 1107 Fort Thomas Avenue. So it used to be the old Kaleidoscope dance building, and we're renovating it for our real estate company. So this is my second go around. We did awning the first time, and the lettering was too big, so it passed here, but the zoning denied it. So we've gone to this other sign, which is just a flat sign there, and we're still keeping it just black and white. So the idea is we'll have a light behind it, so it'll be like a soft light. So you'll kind of see like a halo around the edge of it, and then that white lettering will just have like a dim light. So we're trying to keep it with a boutique, just, you know, a little bit of light so people see who we are. We're also restoring the brick, so it should look really good. It's not cheap, so I hope it's a good option here.
Awesome. Sam, is there anything you want to add from the city's perspective?
Nope. We do have attached from Mark Stewart, our building and zoning administrator. He included a memo from the zoning standpoint about it with his stance on it. He went through and looked at the language for it and wrote it.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No?
Then I would like to make a motion.
I move that we approve the application as submitted.
Okay. You have a motion to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
I will second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You're approved.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
The rest of the work you're doing on the building. I did, by the way, each of these applications, I sent a note to Sam. The zoning information and the information from the historic preservation consultant have been very helpful, so thanks for whoever pulled all that information together. Next item on the agenda will be for 26 North Fort Thomas Avenue for Cerberus Den signage. Is there somebody here? Yeah. Same thing, if you'd like to give us your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Josh Courtney, and one of the owners of Cerberus Den, and we're at 26 North Fort Thomas Avenue. So this is basically a mock-up that I was able to do online. This is the old pharmacy location, and the goal is to keep the existing hardware, everything that's on top, so none of that's being changed except the plastic itself is updated with the new sign. So hardware, everything's staying exactly the same, keep it historic the way it was. And yeah, just a couple window decals with some, like I said, very familiar brands for toys and games. And that basically is kind of the banner that goes across the top.
Thank you. I think I had a question on the vinyl graphics. There's a requirement that they not exceed 30% of any glazed area. It looks like, because we don't have a scale drawing, it looks like probably what's on the door, what's on the transom above the door, and maybe what's on the window to the right of the door with Pokemon at the top. I'm guessing that those 4 panes total are probably not compliant, just eyeballing it. So I don't have any heartburn over replacing the existing sign panel with what you want to do tonight, but I think that for the vinyl graphics, I would personally feel better if we had a drawing that showed that those were actually compliant with what we're responsible for approving.
Understood. So to clarify, the one that's above the door, that one is there issues with that one specifically? Where it says Cerberus Den above the door, that window?
So yes, you'd have to measure the size of the window.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to measure a rectangle around the size of the graphic that you want to apply.
Mm-hmm.
You have this amount of total area. What this is cannot exceed 30% of what the entire window is.
Understood. And I understood that for the rest of the windows, which is why I try to keep at the top. But that smaller one on the top is, I guess it's probably pretty close, but yeah, I'll have to measure it. I can do that.
The code, it just says each window pane.
Understood.
So,
Understood. But the top portion is fine. Is there a need to do a second round of this next month to go, or is there a way to have a separate where I can go ahead and get the top actual panel ordered and created and come back to doing the actual windows itself?
we'll continue to discuss that, but from my perspective, I would be inclined to approve the top one. That's within the existing sign cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And then have you come back with all the stuff you want to do on the storefront windows below.
Understood.
Was that the same size as the drug center?
Correct, yeah. I literally took a picture of the outside and just kind of put a thing over top. So it's the exact same size.
Okay.
Yeah, all the existing hardware, everything's the same.
And Jeffrey, you got my email earlier as well. Because that was one of your questions that you did bring up.
Yep.
Was the window signs and all that stuff. I did bring it to Mark's attention on that. He did apologize that he didn't make note of it in his memo to you all, but because, as I stated, and just for the rest of the board members, since zoning does not have this in its things, he didn't write about it, of course, but since it is noted in the design guidelines as 30% for each window, so that's the only part where it came up, and so that's why he didn't include it in his original notes for it, but said that he would have included that, but we did have a conversation about it in the office about that.
Okay.
So, but he didn't see of course, an issue with it coming by the zoning stuff, so that's
Yep.
that.
And Jeffrey, just to clarify, the calculation rules, it's the rectangular area as opposed to a actual area with transparency.
I would say it's a little vague on that.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, in my experience, it is a rectangle around the logo sign and not the trace of each individual letter or one of those dudes.
So, I don't know, does that make sense how it's calculated?
It does, yeah, I have no problem going back and, now that we have that paper on the wall too, I can get, or the window, I can get very specific dimensions of every individual window pane. And then I can have a page literally for each one, showing the measurement, how tall each of those icons are.
Yep.
Okay, so this application is just for the upper sign, right?
I think that's what we should approve tonight.
Okay.
I can make that motion unless there's any further questions or comments. Okay, so we will approve the proposed sign going into the existing sign cabinet, but will not approve the vinyl graphics as currently submitted. Those will come back before this board at a later date. I have made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tie. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application also for signage is for 1312 South Fort Thomas Avenue, Tami Root, for Studio Root Skincare.
Hello, I'm Tami Root. I have a skincare studio and I'd like to put a sign right underneath the existing sign that just has my website and what I do. Because I thought that, you know, I mean, I've been there for a few years, but I'm not the kind of business that you can like just come in and go, oh, what do you do here? Like, I'm by appointment only. And I thought that just may help the fair folk of Fort Thomas get their brow on.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I don't think there's any question, but Tami, I guess, is there anything that you'd want to, you have a variance that was approved for the area that's already been submitted, is that correct?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Nothing's wrong. There's, in notes from the building zoning administrator, there's a comment that the total sign area will exceed the limitation, but the property received a variance in 1971, which I guess maybe you're not aware of that, but.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That sounds great.
So I guess maybe it's just a point of clarification, if there's anything that we have to note or bring attention to that is being honored as part of the application or consideration.
Total sign area would still be more than 50% below what was previously approved of that variance, so.
I can't say anything.
Oh, that is right, your name is on.
Very proud. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay, I'd like to make that into a motion.
Yeah, I move that we approve the application as submitted.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? One. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. So do I need to take anything with me, or do I just go now?
Yep, you are more than welcome to leave.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Tami.
Okay, we have a Grow Grant application for the next item on the agenda for 1 Highland Avenue, Unit A, Fort Thomas Coffee, outdoor improvements, Christine Smalley.
Hi, Christine Smalley, Fort Thomas Coffee, 1 Highland Avenue. And Sam's got a PowerPoint presentation for us. So we applied for a GROW grant to improve our exterior for aesthetically and for the community. And what we would like to do is add heaters in our little nook that is under the balcony. We have a couch seating area over there, and we thought that would extend our use into the late fall and the spring. If you want to advance a slide, here you can see this was our GROW grant request. Those are 3 heaters. The suspension kits are the kits that hold it down off the roof, and then indoor on-off controls, and the electrician installation. I submitted it at the 3750 number, but the wiring is larger, and so he came back with a second quote after I showed him that. The concrete patio painted sealant, we asked for support with that as well. That has actually already been completed. One Highland, the HOA, was upset with the coffee staining that was happening outside on the concrete. You can advance to the next slide, Sam. You can see the before picture. Pretty much anywhere anything spilled, it absorbed instantly into the concrete. And so our argument was that the concrete wasn't really sealed to begin with. So anything that was being spilled was soaking right in. Hard bristle brush, OxyClean, pressure washer, nothing was getting that out. So they did ask what we wanted it to look like, and they allowed us to choose the paint color, but they did paint and seal it, and they've asked that we would pay for that because it was our customers that stained that. And I said I would look for support in paying for that. So that was the $2,000 number up there. So that has already been done. You can see the before and the after, and I'm so grateful it has been done because the after looks fabulous. And now when something spills on it, we can just hose it right off and it rolls right off. You can see their explanation. The architect selected a slate color through body stained concrete. The stain is added to the concrete mix instead of being applied as a top coat. And their thinking was that the through body colored concrete would be lower maintenance and the color would not fade over time. But our finding was that it was not the best solution for a coffee shop. The reason he wanted us to pay for the stained concrete is that he purchased, the president of the HOA purchased rugs to go outside the resident entrances because there was staining there as well. So he purchased really large additional One Highland mats to go out there to cover the spills that are happening right outside the door. So we added that to our GROW grant request because it did beautify, and it will now always look lovely instead of always stained. Next slide. This is a picture to show you the area we're talking about for the heaters. Going down here, here's this little balcony nook, and that's where the heaters would go. So on the next slide, you'll see what the heaters would look like. That is an image. Do you see them up there? And they're mounted with those brackets. That's what that suspension kit was. So we're going to get 3 that are that size. They're rather large. Next slide, Sam. And this was the image that the commercial heater company sent back, Bromic Heating. They only do restaurant commercial style heating. And I sent them our dimensions, and this is what they sent me as their suggestion. Next slide. And this was the electrician coming back with another proposal. I don't know if that's too late to add that into the GROW grant, but I just threw that in there for now. So that is our request. And then I wanted to pull an audible and ask for something else since I'm here. As we planned out our economic objectives for the new year, one of the areas that we need to improve is our cocktail bar traffic. And the most common thing that happens is that folks are at the coffee shop and they say, "Oh, you guys serve cocktails." We have been considering how can we better advertise our cocktail bar. We feel like we are constantly doing that. Word of mouth, we're trying to get it out through Facebook. In the parade, we had cocktails really big on our car as we drove by. People will be talking to me at the cocktail bar and still not know that we serve cocktails. So one of the things we don't have is street signage that shows that we serve wine, cocktails, and coffee. So on the next slide, I wanted to request additional signage, and I understand I could come back with the exact, we do have 2 requests for quotes out right now. But our one sign says Fort Thomas Coffee with the coffee cup, because that's how we're known, that's how we answer the phone. But I would like to add another sign that simply says coffee, cocktails, wine. Just shows people what we serve. And on the next slide, Sam, you can see where our existing sign is. We would order this exact same sign. We've reached out to the company that did these signs. It's right here. But on the next slide, that's where I'd like it to go, on Highland Avenue. And now, our address is 1 Highland Avenue, and it has been so confusing for folks to find us because all of our doors are on North Fort Thomas Avenue. So this could be an added bonus to helping people find the coffee shop that they're going to on Highland Avenue. But the sign would hang in that same balcony area. So as our electrician is putting in electric for the heaters, it is the exact same electrician that put in all the electrical in one Highland. So he's very familiar with the building and would be performing the electric work for this. And then the next slide. So yeah, our request for quote is out. It's Holt House Lackner Signs that's the company that has done the signs. Next slide. Alternative, less expensive option would be to request a sticker for our large conference room window. And I do have a request for quote out to J. Mar Signs, J. Simpson. And, that original sign, it's expected to be about $5,000. The J. Mar sign would probably be around $500 based on what we've gotten done from them in the past. So significantly different. So those are 2 options there, and I just wanted to throw that out. So again, what I originally came for is what we've submitted for our GROW grant, and here were the numbers there, and that is all.
Thanks for a nice presentation again.
Thanks.
Would she be able to come back for a supplemental or secondary GROW grant if we don't take action on the audible portion of the signage? Are you aware?
Did you submit for the sign originally?
I did not.
Okay, so sadly, due to how the GROW grant is set up, everyone up here is familiar with GROW grant, is very familiar. So the GROW grant, just for those who don't know, just like, it's a facade/interior grant that the city of Fort Thomas does each year. We get, the city allocates us $60,000 from the very lovely cell tower right next to our building right here. And so we were blessed that they allow us to use this money in order to beautify our business districts with this money, and that is the GROW grant. It has changed a little bit over the years, but this is where it kind of sits now as both a facade and interior grant for it. So just a little bit, everyone's on the same page for that. So, and sadly, once the GROW grant window closes and all that stuff, that is what you're applying for. So
Yeah.
sadly, it wouldn't be able to go towards that. However, the next window for it, the next GROW grant cycle, if you're willing to, of course, wait for that, Christine, will be around October. This one will open up the next ones as well. And then the idea is that we're gonna try to have it as started as early as possible.
Would a sign actually fit in the category of GROW grant? Because it's,
That is a fantastic question.
Yeah.
It actually would not.
I didn't
fit
think so.
under it. We would not buy the sign itself, we would buy the bracketing for it.
got it,
If
okay.
that makes sense. So we'll buy the attachments and stuff that goes with the building, but we would not pay for anything that has the FTC branding attached to it.
Okay.
So that is the only catch for that.
Okay, so you could help potentially pay for that big casing.
Yes. We could
And
pay
then
for the
the-
casing and all that stuff.
Because you
but
said
we wouldn't
the
pay for
sign
that
part
front.
slips in the front,
Yeah,
okay.
We wouldn't pay for that part.
Okay, so we could even consider tabling all of these things, because once you receive one grant, you can't apply for another for 2 years. If you get it.
I would have to look at the exact wording for
Okay.
that. It was one of those things, another thing that has changed over the years was just to put a cap on some of our businesses and all that stuff, just for some clarity and reasons, and also to allow for other businesses the opportunity to
Right.
gain from it. And I believe it's up to a certain amount,
Okay,
if I remember
It's
correctly.
25,000.
Yes, so if you do not hit over 25,000 per grant, then you're fine.
Okay.
So if you get 5,000 for this one, you could come back next year for 20. And that would cover the 25, and then you would have essentially kind of like a waiting period for it to
Okay,
come back.
cool.
So
Alright.
you can come back if you want.
okay. Well, we'll go with as is, what we have,
Perfect.
and then, yeah, get our information about the sign. Consider that.
So for the sake of clarity, you want us to? not-
Yes, for the current GROW grant that we submitted December 5th. Let's,
So no discussion on the signage, you're gonna table, you would like to table that until a later date?
yes. If I need more information to approve signage outside of GROW grant,
You would need the zoning approval as well, so with each
Okay.
of these signage applications, we've received a written report from Mark with the city on his interpretation and application
Okay.
of the appropriateness from a zoning perspective.
okay,
That would be step one. I would assume, I don't have the zoning code memorized, but I would assume that you would be allowed, since you have a corner property and frontage on both, that you should be allowed to probably do what you want to do.
Okay.
Um,
all right,
Including possibly also the vinyl signage on the big conference room window.
Okay.
But he would be the first stop to validate that, so
okay, so I'll submit for that separately. Cool.
one question on the heaters. Oh, also, it sounds like somebody forgot something in their concrete specification. If everything's staining,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't pay for it if it was me, but will the power for the heaters be above ceiling, or will it be in conduit, or like surface mounted, do you know?
should we have the electrician answer? It'll be above the ceiling.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's an electrician.
He, by trade, he's an electrician. He's not the electrician for One Island.
Do you know the mounting height of the heaters relative to the ground or the ceiling, either way?
Sam, I think it's in that packet that there's, that it would show the brackets, the mounting brackets. Did I include that anywhere in there? They sent us a full catalog. I don't recall. Maybe that picture could give you an idea, but I could send you the exact specs.
The only note that I saw was that it says that they would be mounted between 8 and 10 feet above finished floor.
Which is.
Yeah, and our ceiling is-
Yeah.
Yeah, our ceiling is 10 feet. So the bracket adds, I mean, it's inches, like, I don't recall though.
Normally they're 8 or 6 to 8 inches, because you gotta get the heater away from the ceiling material, which is softened wood.
Yeah,
So even though it has a shroud around it that keeps the heat going down, it still does get a little hot up there. So there is a requirement that
okay,
that will come with your unit.
yeah.
Those brackets will get it the proper distance.
And I guess just to clarify,
Oh,
I think the only,
the suspension kit, no, it doesn't say anything about that, does it?
I mean, I think to clarify, the only concern is,
3 foot.
I mean, the only reason we're talking about it, right, is from a visibility standpoint, what's it gonna look like? So is it
Hanging
hanging
down.
way down, or is it sort of basically not visible from the street?
Right.
Um,
There was an option for recessed,
Well,
if you would prefer that.
No.
yeah, I think that's gonna be a lot of trouble to recess it in the existing ceiling, I suspect, but,
Worried about it as a fire issue with having sheet
yeah.
getting into a recess.
I think the recommendation would probably be to mount them as high as possible.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they have to be
I think the only thing I see in the material submitted was that the heater's gonna be 36 inches from combustible materials, but I don't know what that roof deck is, but I don't think it's combustible. I wouldn't expect it to be.
36 inches sounds pretty far. It is wood.
I don't know what kind of wood it is.
Okay. We don't have an answer on that.
Yeah, but the unit will come with brackets that will give you the clearance for combustibles, because almost all of them are mounted to combustibles. You know, homes and decks and things of that nature.
On my phone.
So this is actually, I'm sorry, I just didn't realize this. I thought this was part of the product catalog, but this is a general NFPA, but there could be, with the clearance is shown on the approval, so if it's UL listed to be closer than 3 feet, it potentially could be. But, I mean, however, it's listed to be installed is what would govern. That would, that's how I would read this, but. So I think if it's a 10-foot ceiling, you have to be 36 inches away, plus the unit depth, you're not gonna be able to be 80 inches above, and it's probably not gonna work anyway.
Do you have a lowest it can go? Like, for visually, what you want it to look like?
Well, I think from just a building code standpoint, you have to be at least 80 inches clear from a walking surface. And, which is 6'8". So if you're 10 feet minus 3 feet, you're at 7 feet. I would expect the units to be deeper than 4 inches tall. So I think technically you're not gonna be able to install them if that actually is the required clearance.
Okay.
So,
Is that a side clearance or top to bottom?
it's just saying from any combustible materials, so it would be all the above. But this text is under portable electric heater, and it's not portable.
No, I just put one in this year in the back of my garage. It's wood, and they have the brackets there that you utilize to give it the right clearance. And they do have a specification of how far that needs to be off the ground, so that people can't get there, and also so that the heat can radiate out correctly.
Yeah.
But I would think that if you mount that, which is about a 6-inch bracket or so, up against the bottom of your overhang there, you should be fine, and it'll keep it more out of sight.
I mean, so this is just saying 10 inches, ceiling mount, 13, depends on there's options. Which unit are you using? Yeah. So the minimum floor clearance is 96 inches, so it's 8 feet. There's different brackets. Come back up the exterior image of their building, please.
Like with the signage and stuff?
Yeah, just for reference. So, I don't remember
It's on
from
the side.
from the opening, like if you went in underneath the tower portion,
Yes.
does the ceiling step up?
Yes.
So you got like that piece of stone over the opening, right? And then the ceiling goes
Yes.
up, like
Yeah.
kind of what's right above your head there?
Yep. Yeah.
You can't really see it on the screens, but you can kind of see the stone underneath.
Yeah.
at least 9 feet. Yeah, and if you have a recess inside, that could very easily be 10 feet.
So our goal is to add value and to increase our revenue. And I think, honestly, I think out of both the things that we're pitching, yes, and it's gonna look more aesthetically beautiful now with the floor stained, but having cocktails and wine written somewhere outside, I think is going to increase our traffic. The heaters outdoors, I love that for extending the season and people can stay out there longer. But if I'm looking at what's going to increase our bottom line, I think it's probably signage. So if y'all don't like the heating idea, then.
I don't personally have a problem with the heating
No,
idea. I think we're just trying to
Make sure
understand,
it's pretty.
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
yeah.
like for the heating, I think the heating, in terms of it being a grant to add to the streetscape is a great intention of what that would add back to the fact that it's a grant, right? I mean, I think it's a great addition. It's just a matter of making sure that it's gonna work, one, the way that you want it to, but, and that's, I guess, a separate issue in terms of, it just still has to meet building code and everything for installation requirements, but, I think if it conceptually is, the bottom of the heaters is relatively close to the bottom of that typical opening around, you're not gonna see it. I don't think there's anything really much to talk about at that point.
Right.
But if it ends up being a situation where it's extending way down and potentially is something that you're just, is
Yeah.
potentially taking away from the streetscape, then I think that's the only thing that's really worth talking about, but.
Okay, I don't mind taking measurements. I mean, yeah, we're still in winter for another couple months anyway, so, I don't mind taking measurements and coming back with a better request for signage as well. But the Grow Grant, your decisions, when does that have to be?
Whatever was submitted in the program is what is up for, it.
Yeah.
We can't change or add to them,
Yeah.
of course, as of right now. But you are more than welcome to come and get approval for the signs as well, just because that will have to go through Mark Stewart, our building inspector.
Yeah.
So it'll go through that process, and you're more than welcome to add that to your next
Next.
design review board application as well. So.
Okay. Got it.
I mean, I don't think there's conceptually an issue with the heaters, it's just a technical.
Great.
And based on the technical, what is the reality of the relationship from the ceiling or it's probably what's the relationship from the floor line?
Right.
That you can, how high can you get those and still be what
Without
the manufacturer wants and needs and then what will meet code. The signage is not, are we able to say anything about the signage now in terms of design?
No,
review board?
I was just thinking if I'm gonna come back another day to pitch signage, because I do think that's a more worthy endeavor to get done for us. If I'm gonna do that anyway, I don't mind measuring and seeing if this would peak out below those.
I think that would
Stone
be,
areas.
I think that would be great. I don't personally have any heartburn on what you're showing for signage. I think I would just want zoning verification that it's all compliant. But in concept, I don't have any heartburn on the signage.
Okay.
If you want to take this, I just doodled maybe like what some of the measurements, if you can confirm, would be. So this would be the bottom of that, the stone range. This would be like maybe the top of your doors. This is where your ceiling steps up. Like if we can get that dimension, how tall the ceiling is. In your architectural drawings from MA probably already show all that information. And then just confirm with your installer how far these would hang down.
Okay.
I think kind of what we were talking is so long as they don't, hang below this kind of magic line, it's
Yeah,
not
I
going to be an aesthetic issue.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. Thank you.
cool. So why don't we table this application or reject it until resubmitted at a later date?
Yeah, I guess you're waiting for more information, basically. So the table.
We could approve the concrete tonight since that's already done, or take action on the concrete. and then have you come back for the heaters and the signage.
Okay.
And I mean, do you have, is there an application in for this, like the window graphics? Is that something that?
No.
I mean-
Yeah, we just thought of this idea before we came here, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty easy to, the same thing as what we talked about on the earlier application, to get the area of what that is, and as long as that meets zoning, then,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be applied from the inside, then it should be something that's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, let us make a motion officially for you guys. I can do it if you guys want. I think I have it clear. So I'll make a motion to approve the concrete staining, and that the applicant will come back at a later date with additional information for the proposed electric heaters and for the proposed additional signage. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is continued business for 1 Alexander Circle, for Brady and Carson Jolly for exterior alterations and additions. For those in the audience, we do have, or the city has been working with a historic preservation consultant, so we do have a written opinion from Wes, I believe his name is, Wes Cunningham, on the proposed application. From his perspective, just to summarize, no objections to what's been submitted. All the factors indicate that the proposed project will not negatively affect the integrity of the property itself or the district as a whole. So,
My best bet to do with these,
I'm just leave those there for now. Maybe just we can talk through the updated application from last time.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Brady Jolly, my wife Carson, we're 1 Alexander Circle. So yeah, you guys know what we're here for. Back again, you asked if we could bring some samples, dig a little deeper with our architect, and provide a few other views. So that's what we've done. We also provided a letter of approval from our only adjoining neighbor, the Bujanoks, Digger and Lindsay Bujanok. That's attached for you all as well. And then we provided along with the samples for the ceiling, shingles, stone, and then the color palette for the concrete hardyboard siding material. I can show you those colors as well. We also have the lights, the outdoor lighting.
Why don't you go ahead maybe and talk us through your proposed materials, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure, please. Yeah. So, like matching our home for the most part, so same exact shingles. Stone, we already have some stone right there on our, the face of our garages. This is not the exact same, it's very similar. It's just a little different material, but it was about as close as we could find, very similar. As far as our ceiling, we're gonna use this Texas Honey Brown ceiling, exactly. It's very similar, different brand, but very similar color and material to on our front porch and side porch.
Do you mind bringing that up just so we can take a slightly closer look at it?
Yeah, it's that Texas Brown there.
So it is all real wood?
It is. Yep, all real wood.
Thank you for that.
Yep. This is the decking. Right now, we have, concrete pavers on the porch, on the back porch. We think this will be a big upgrade. The concrete decking, it's funny, it's a lot like, what Christine was sharing. Anything that falls on it, it's real porous and stains bad, and hard to clean up. The like puddles soak into it, and it really doesn't look good only after a couple years. So any additional decking and then all the existing, we put this down.
Okay.
And then, the face of the face would be the stone, kind of like the face of our garages already. And then the, sides would be this material. And we would be going with the heathered moss. This heathered moss color is, very similar to the color that we already have on our house.
Is that hardy?
Yeah, hardy board, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then the windows are the identical windows that we have, there. Sorry, I didn't bring a window in with me, but,
They're Lincoln windows, aren't they?
yeah, they're the wood windows. Same gutters that we already have on the home as well.
A few of the details that we approved on those buildings when they renovated them, that we wanted to make sure that you would take, or do the same thing is, one of the things that the Lincoln windows had that was really nice is they have a very heavier bottom rail to the window, and that's more traditional. And so we want to make sure you get the same type unit and that, because that was something we were concerned about. The other thing is when you do your roof, do a ridge vent and not any of the little isolated vents or whatever they call them. Because they used to be on the buildings, so we got rid of those when we redid them. There's a much better way to ventilate the building, plus it doesn't look as bad.
Yep. Totally understand that.
Would you mind, just for the sake of clarity, because can you come back up here real quick,
Yeah.
please? I thought I saw it, but there's a lot of paper in this application. Can you just talk through, just so I'm clear, where exactly the stone versus the hardy is going to go?
Yep.
Well, is this all
This
proposed
is
to be
already
stone?
stone. Existing stone, that's what it is now. This will be stone.
For the whole face of it?
Just the base. Every other part of this building will be hardy.
Okay.
And this is actually, the backside of this is already hardy.
Right, yep, okay, thank you.
One thing that I don't think was in Wes's report was the lighting. Was there, do you have any notes on the lighting? I don't think it's an issue, I think that was sort of a new element. So the guidelines do have essentially that there's not historical precedent for exterior lighting, but that they should replicate the style of fixtures for Queen Anne residences built between 1870 and early 1900s, or utilize simple contemporary design.
I saw the simple contemporary design note, and that's how we picked this fixture. We actually originally were gonna pick something that looked more in that historical timeline, but we liked this better, saw that that was approved.
And these fixtures are just going on the new addition, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Not replacing the ones on the other original part of the house, right?
Nope.
You guys have any more questions or comments for Brady? Should have asked this in all the previous ones. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and comment? I know we had a few folks when this application was first heard a couple of months ago that wanted to say a word or two.
I wasn't here, but I just have a question.
Can you, I'm sorry, just
Just
for the
I'm
record,
sorry.
can you come up and give us your name and address, please?
Thank you. It's Sharon MacKnight, 62 Miller Lane. Is there any way to get a copy of Wes Cunningham's write-up?
You can have my copy if
Oh,
you'd
really?
like.
Is that all right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
I didn't know if
I have it
they could just
electronically.
attach it to the agenda, and that way we don't have to steal your copy.
Oh, that's fine.
Can you do that, or can I just take it?
You can, you're welcome to this. I have it
Sweet.
electronically.
Copies of it.
Yeah, we get all these packets usually 2 weeks before the meeting electronically, so.
Guess we can have one back for anybody that wants one.
Okay, you're awesome. Thank you. That was it.
Okay, great, thank you. Might be, yeah, that, you raise a good comment, it might make sense. A lot of jurisdictions do post applications once they've been submitted and are officially going to be on an agenda. I don't know what the logistics are for the city to consider that, but.
We can have a conversation with our city administrator, Matthew Kramer,
Yeah.
about it, along with, of course, Director Kevin Garland,
Yep.
and just touch base with our city clerk, about that as well, just to
Okay.
make sure, following procedures and all that.
Yep, good deal. Okay. Any additional questions or comments?
I have none.
Anybody like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the application as submitted.
Okay, there's a motion to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
I will second.
Been seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for updating stuff from the last meeting. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah. I think that is it officially for tonight, so we will take a motion to adjourn at 6:53 PM.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.